right. Good morning, PTNI's Daily Show. Happy Thursday morning. I hope your morning is off to a great start. Here with the Institute of Clinical Excellence, my name is Alan. I'm happy to be your host today. Currently have the pleasure of serving as the Chief Operating Officer for the Institute of Clinical Excellence and a faculty member in our Fitness Athlete Division. It's Thursday, Leadership Thursday. We talk all things practice management, business ownership. It is also Gut Check Thursday. This week's gut check, very, very simple, but definitely not easy. We are testing a 2,000 meter row, so kind of a middle distance event on the rowing machine, similar to a 1 mile run out on the road. So that is really nice test, not only for active folks, but that is a really good aerobic capacity baseline test for pretty much anybody that comes into clinic. I had an older adult do it the other day, 83 years young, took her about 16 minutes, but a good benchmark assessment to have, and definitely very anaerobic for those folks who have a higher capacity. Definitely feels a little bit different than those who literally slow row it. So test out your 2,000 meter row, and then if cardio is not your jam, next week we'll be back with the barbell for those who are more friendly with the barbell. Some courses coming your way this weekend here at Health HQ and CrossFit Fenton in Fenton, Michigan. We'll have Fitness Athlete Live with Mitch, Zach, and Joe. We still have 2 spots left for that course. And then our courses over the next couple weeks are all full. So your next chance to catch us out on the road after this course here this weekend will be to catch Pregnancy and Postpartum Online with Christina and Alexis. That'll be starting 8 weeks, November 1st. And then our next live course you can jump into will be November 6th and 7th. That'll be Extremity Management with Lindsay Huey. That'll be down in Knightdale, North Carolina. And then the weekend of November 13th and 14th, you can catch Zach Long out in Chicago for Fitness Athlete Live. You can catch Jason down in Atlanta for Rehab of the Injured Runner at Onward Atlanta. Or you can catch Justin out in Bear, Delaware for Total Spine Thrust. And then our last course before Thanksgiving will be Extremity again with Lindsay, this time out in Denver. That will be November 20th and 21st. And then don't forget, ICE opportunity applications are open. That's 2 years of free ICE coursework for anybody from the Black, Indigenous, or other persons of color category. So if you think that you fall into that group of folks, then we have the ICE opportunity for you. That's as many courses as you want to take in that 2-year period. There's an application on the ICE website, so go to ptnice.com. Click the upper right corner. There's a tab that says Diversify. The application is on there. If you don't think you fall into that category, but you have a friend, a colleague, maybe a former student, somebody that you know that is in the rehab community, and you want to nominate them, there is also a nomination form. So nominate them. Maybe they don't know about it, and we will send them an invitation to apply for the ICE opportunity. Those applications will close November 28th, so the Sunday after Thanksgiving. And then Jeff Morgan and I will take a couple days and we will pick the next round of recipients to get that 2 years of free ICE coursework. So that's the ICE opportunity. Don't forget to check that out. So we're back talking kind of on the leadership theme we've been on, and today we're talking about how to pay folks who work underneath of us. So this is always a hot topic. I don't think it will ever not be a hot topic, but best ways to pay folks. So we get this question a lot, both on the Health HQ side of things, as well as on the ICE side of things, of what is the best way, what is the fairest way when we're deciding how to pay folks that we hire to work for us. So we'd be remiss if we didn't stop and reflect on where we are currently at with the economy, in that 5 million people voluntarily left their job in August. That's about 5% of the full-time job force. Now, these folks were not laid off due to a lack of business. These were folks who left their job because they did not want to have that job any longer, right? They said, take this job and shove it. And that is obviously not a sustainable rate of people leaving the workforce. We can all relate to having service be a lot slower at things like restaurants and grocery stores because there's simply not enough people working. And why is that? Well, the main reason is those folks are not making enough money to put up with all the stuff they have to put up with, right? It's no longer worth it for a lot of people to get paid minimum wage, to not only have to do their daily tasks, maybe stocking groceries at the grocery store, but now have to deal with maybe being the masked police on the store and dealing with irate customers for a number of different reasons, some of which are no longer related to that person doing their job. And so the tasks of the job, the toughness factor of the job is no longer worth the money that it's being paid. And I think we can certainly relate to that in physical therapy of that sometimes it just does not seem worth it. And we have to also look at the economy and say the economy has grown 7% since COVID began. So profits are higher than ever, yet pay has not changed at all in 2 years. Many of you have reached out to us and said, hey, I haven't gotten a raise in a couple years, or even my pay has gotten cut because of COVID, and I'm using air quotes there. And the pay is the same or worse than it was 2 years ago, and the tasks of the job are much higher than they were, and that is causing people to say, this is no longer worth it. I'm just going to go ahead and quit. And what we see is that when we pay people really, really well, we don't have this problem. We don't have staffing issues. We don't have attrition and turnover issues. Well-paid people who feel really content and supported by their job don't tend to leave their job because those folks can see that they are advancing financially, and that otherwise the toughness of the work, all the stuff they have to put up with, is otherwise worth it. And so we have to find a way to get people paid enough that it increases their job satisfaction so that they don't leave. By far, the worst economical outcome for your business is to have a high turnover rate where you're continually losing revenue because people are not working for you. You're paying to find new people, and then you're having to pay and train them. And oh, by the way, they're usually not very efficient at their job until they've had a chance to get some reps under their belt. And so we have to avoid attrition at all costs. So now let's get into what do different payment models look like in physical therapy. Some of these are quite common. Some of these are probably how most of you all get paid. And some of them are probably a little bit new and may be seen as unproven, but we'll talk about those as we get to them. So the first way to get paid is something we're very comfortable with. It's getting paid by the hour, right? The pros there, you're getting paid for the time you're working, and if you're not on the clock, you're not getting paid, but you're also not having to work. And that usually this results in more money per hour than salary because most jobs will hold you to about 40 hours a week so that they don't have to pay you overtime or have to deal with any labor laws or anything like that. So we're all very familiar with getting paid hourly. What are the cons here? You only get paid if you're working, right? Anything you choose to do off the clock is not paid. And for most of us in physical therapy, even if we're paid hourly, we're usually paid for 40 hours of patient care and not 40 hours of patient care plus all of the admin stuff that comes with that. So even when paid hourly, a lot of hourly folks are still finishing up documentation and doing some prep time for the clinic. Even if that is technically illegal, it is still definitely going on. And the second payment model is salary. Again, we're all pretty comfortable with getting paid a salary. Most folks think they have made it once they get on salary. So the pros here are it's very stable, right? You're getting paid no matter what. You're getting paid even if patients cancel or don't show up. You're usually getting paid some form of vacation or sick time, and it's overall very, very stable. The cons here are that across the board, talking to physical therapists across the country, almost everybody on salary is working more than 40 hours a week. So they're almost always overworked and underpaid, especially compared to the revenue they're generating, and especially compared to if they were getting paid hourly. So yes, they might seem like they have a nice big salary, but when you divide that across 45, 50, 55, 60, 70 hours of work a week, that pay per hour goes way down, and it often ends up below getting paid hourly. So again, pros and cons with the salary model. This next model is a little bit new to some folks. It is getting paid per patient visit or session. This is what we call at ICE and Health HQ the eat what you kill model, right? You book the patients, you deliver the outcomes, the patient comes back. The lower your no-show cancellation rate, the more patients come in each week, and you're getting paid per visit. So this usually ends up in more money than even hourly, which is more money than salary. A lot of schedule flexibility. You're only getting paid if you're working, so you can block 6 or 7 patients in a row, and then maybe take off early, do your documentation at home or something like that, instead of feeling like you are being forced to stay in the clinic. You can obviously see more than your baseline productivity here because you're getting paid per visit. So the more patients you see, the more money you make. And if you don't want to make a lot of money, or you want to go on vacation or have a long weekend, then you just don't book patients in that time you want off. And because, again, you're getting paid per patient seen, you're not getting paid, but you also don't have to physically be there waiting to see patients that are not going to be coming in the door. And then this has the nice benefit of using any free time to do things like social media posts and marketing and outreach and following up with previous patients and maybe going to visit some physicians that you have a good network with and just touching base with them, and otherwise using that free time to kind of market yourself, get more patients on your schedule, and therefore make more money. So a lot of pros to this model. Cons to this model, again, you're only getting paid if you're working. And so if you're not working, if you don't have a patient coming in the door, you're not getting paid. And then usually in this time allotment, again, much like hourly, you're only getting paid when you're physically working with a patient. And so documentation and prep time is usually not factored in to your schedule with this model, kind of how it stands by definition. Cons here too, we've had some folks reach out and say, well, isn't this model open for abuse, right? What if I'm supposed to be one-on-one for an hour, but I get paid per visit and I start seeing people every half an hour, or I see 2 people at once or something like that? Well, that's on the leadership to prevent that kind of unethical behavior. So inherently this model is open for abuse, but only if the leadership and ownership of the clinic allows that to happen, right? If your standard is one-on-one for an hour and somebody is seeing somebody every 30 minutes, then obviously you need to drop the hammer on that person and let them know, hey, our standard is one-on-one for an hour. Don't try to cheat the system and make a little bit of extra money just by trying to make yourself seem falsely busy. So that's the eat what you kill model. And then what we really employ here at ICE and in Health HQ is kind of a blended model, kind of a blend between salary and eat what you kill, so that we get paid more than we would salary or hourly. We have some inherent stability that kind of negates sometimes when maybe patient volume is a little bit lower, but that still rewards attracting new patients, and also kind of offsets if somebody happened to be sick or somebody wants to go on vacation. So kind of taking the pros from a couple different models and combining them together to mitigate the cons. So here at Health HQ, we pay per visit, and we ensure we kind of have a baseline that we don't want people to go underneath to make sure that they are still taking some money home. The biggest con of the Eat What You Kill model is, we've all had those days, bad weather, holiday time, whatever, where a bunch of people cancel and you leave the house for work thinking you have a full day, and you get to work and maybe you have no patients. Maybe you have 2 or 3 patients, and all of a sudden that paycheck looks a lot thinner. Likewise with ICE, we never want to send people on the road away from their families to teach and have them walk away not making any money. So we have some baseline safety nets in place to make sure people at least make a little bit of money, and then we have the per visit, per session, eat what you kill model on top of that. So those are kind of the 4 different models when I step back and think, how are all the different ways that we can pay people? I think the per visit session is the most fair to not only the clinician but also the clinic. You don't have to worry about paying people to not treat patients. Likewise, it kind of puts the onus on the clinician to be busy and also to deliver really good outcomes, to make sure that people keep coming back for follow-up visits. This is not a model you could get away with if you are a clinic that sees somebody every 15 minutes. You're just not going to deliver the quality outcomes you need to have people continuing to book more follow-up sessions to make this model successful for your clinicians. But by far, I think it is the best way to pay people, and that's why we use it at Health HQ, and that's why we use a version of it for ICE as well. Now let's talk about how much should you actually get paid. How do we weigh payment? How do we know how much we can offer, whether we're offering hourly, salary, or per visit or session? We need to understand how much revenue we're generating. So this goes way back to episodes we've done years and years ago of understanding how much are you actually pulling in, how much of that is money that's available to pay clinicians, and that we think anyways it should somehow be linked to the revenue that clinician is generating. Somewhere between 30 up to even 60% of the visit should be going back to the clinician. They are doing the majority of the work. The clinic is helping a little bit with marketing and admin, but some portion, arguably the majority of that session, should be going towards the PT. And this is going to be linked to reimbursement in your area as well if you are taking insurance. Understanding what your average reimbursement per session is super crucial if you are a clinic that's accepting insurance. You have to know what you're getting paid per visit on average. That determines everything. That determines how much you can pay your PTs. That determines what sort of budget you have for equipment, that sort of thing. And it also helps you know, is it worth it to keep taking insurance? Some of you practice in areas and states where it is not worth it for you to take insurance anymore, and that is the reason why your PTs are underpaid and overworked. That's why they're seeing a patient every 15 minutes, because you are in network with insurance companies that maybe give you like $40 a visit or something like that. So you must understand where your reimbursement is and know when it's time to walk away or not. And I think we should always be working towards paying our clinicians, again, the majority of the revenue that they generate, getting them towards 50% or more. Here at Health HQ, we pay about 55% of the visit back to the PT, so they take home the majority of the revenue that they generate, which we feel is very, very fair. The issue with trying to ask what is the market rate for a PT in my area, in my region, my state, my region of the country, is all of these resources, these PT job reports and market reports are nice, but the data is rather worthless because they are usually nationwide and they are an accumulation of everybody that has a physical therapy license. So yes, we're gathering data from maybe somebody down the street from you that is also a PT, and we're getting their pay information, which is helpful. But we're also capturing maybe somebody down the street from you that is retired. They are still a licensed PT. They are still reporting their income information to the IRS, but they're maybe not making nearly as much as they were when they were practicing full time. Likewise, you may have somebody down the street from you that is a director of PT at a local college that's making $300,000 a year, which is way more than you would ever make as a practicing full-time physical therapist. And so these data dumps can seem helpful, but they're often not. They're often an average of super low-paying jobs and super high-paying jobs, and they really don't give you an idea of what you're worth, or if you're a clinic owner, of what you should be paying your clinicians. We need to go back. We need to understand what's our average reimbursement per visit. If you're taking cash, that's obviously very easy to calculate, and then work backwards from there to understand what's the maximum you can be paying a clinician. And the final point I'll say before I let you go is that if you're out there, if you're a student, if you're a new grad, even if you're a veteran clinician, please, please, please start standing up for yourself. Do your research. Find out what you think it's worth for you to be paid to be a PT in your area based on insurance reimbursement. Don't look at those job reports. Those are worthless. But try to get an understanding of what is the upper end of what you could be paid as a full-time clinician. Ask friends, reach out to folks who own clinics, mentorship, mastermind groups, whatever, and kind of start to do your own research and figure out what should I be getting paid, and then compare that to what you're actually currently being paid. And please, please, please stop accepting low-paying jobs. Every time somebody graduates school and accepts a job that pays like $55,000 a year, it just sets a really terrible precedent for everybody that comes behind you. Now those folks are probably going to offer the person behind you even less, and if they take that cycle just continues and continues and continues. And this is how we run into people out on the road who have been practicing for 5 years and they make $60,000 a year and they have $300,000 of student loan debt, and they're going to be in debt for the rest of their life because their take-home paycheck is like $1,800 a paycheck. So please, I beg you, do your research, reach out, ask a friend, do whatever you need to, figure out what you should be getting paid and compare that to how you're currently getting paid, and do everything in your power to fix that. I promise you, if you come in with data, you come in with research, you have checked multiple sources, and you walk into that job interview, there's a lot more wiggle room in that pay than you think there is. And definitely look at what if I got paid per visit versus what if I accepted this cushy salary that seems nice, but is actually probably going to be less per hour than if I took an hourly or a per session type of job. So don't be that person that establishes a bad precedent by accepting a low-paying job just to start getting a paycheck and get some money in the bank. It doesn't take very much to do that research and kind of shop around and get an idea of where you should be at pay-wise. I promise you, the majority of you out there listening are being underpaid compared to the revenue that you generate. If you are working in a standard outpatient clinic, you're probably generating $300,000-ish a year for the clinic. If you're working for a hospital-based clinic, it's double that. And if you're taking home 50 grand a year, that's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that your employer is socking away. So make sure that you get your fair share of that. Don't undersell yourself. That's how we end up in the current state of things where we're at now, where 5 million people a month are quitting their jobs. So be part of the solution there, not part of the problem. If you have questions about this, if you want to reach out and discuss this, if you want to get pointed in the direction of some resources about, hey, where do I look to see how to calculate the average insurance reimbursement in my area, then please reach out to me. info@ice.physio is how you can get a hold of me. I'm happy to answer questions like that. Other than that, I hope that this was helpful. Hope you have fun with Gut Check Thursday. I will be back on here tomorrow. We'll be talking about some CrossFit stuff on Fitness Athlete Friday. And then we're hoping tomorrow afternoon to have a special edition of the podcast where we will be interviewing Julie Fouché and talking about CrossFit Precision Care and how rehab professionals can get more involved in helping CrossFit and the CrossFit physician movement. So hope you have a fantastic Thursday. Have fun with Gut Check. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to the PT on Ice Daily Show. If you enjoyed this content, head on over to iTunes and leave us a review. And be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at the Institute of Clinical Excellence. If you're interested in getting plugged into more ICE content on a weekly basis while earning CEUs from home, check out our virtual ICE online mentorship program at ptonice.com. While you're there, sign up for our Hump Day Hustling newsletter for a free email every Wednesday morning with our top 5 research articles and social media posts that we think are worth reading. Head over to ptonice.com and scroll to the bottom of the page to sign up.